All right. Hello, everybody. It's Joey Remenyi from Seeking Balance Australia, and I am very happy today to be talking with Bruce. And Bruce is going to talk with us his experience of tinnitus, healing it, recovering it, and the ongoing journey that continues. So welcome, Bruce. It's really nice to have you on the call.
Thank you, Joey.
And I have been tracking down blokes. So I do work with a number of blokes in my clinic, and it's really hard to get them to do these calls. So on behalf of all the men out there, I just want to say thanks for showing up.
No worries, thank you.
So do you want to start by just briefly describing your first experience of the tinnitus or the severity of it? Like what that when your life comes crashing down, just talk people through how you started off and learnt about it and all of that.
Yes, look, Joey, my tinnitus, the onset of it was just virtually immediate. I'd had trouble with my ears and I went to the doctors and got them cleaned. And from that point on, I just had this ringing in my ears that just would not go away. It was there. It would wake me up during the night. I would hear it during the day. Even sounds around me didn't mask that just continual ringing. And it was just fear. It was just a terrible fear. I thought, what am I going to do with this? How do I sort it out? And my first point of call was to go and see an ear, nose and throat specialist, and he checked my ears and virtually said to me, look, there's nothing they can do about my tinnitus. He said there were different procedures I could use to try and mask the sound, like sleeping with a fan going and things like that. And luckily he had your card, and he suggested the other thing you could do is to sit down and have a talk with you. Now, I needed to do something, and I wanted to act on it as quickly as I could, because I really just couldn't cope with that feeling of this sound ringing in my ears. And at that point, then I made contact with you.
And do you remember, so I think at the time, it's like you were pretty distressed, if I remember correctly, and you weren't sleeping as well.
Joey, I was totally distressed. I wasn't sleeping. I was lucky to be getting 2 or 3 hours sleep a night. And nighttime was often the worst, because you would hear it in your head and then you would listen to it and you'd multiply that worry about it at nighttime, and it was just really driving me crazy. It really was.
Which is a very common thing people say, not only with vertigo, but especially with tinnitus, like, am I going crazy? And I think especially when all the medical tests come up normal, it's just like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why can't anybody kind of pinpoint this?
Well, that was the worry I had. I mean, I had a brain scan and that came back normal. Okay. And the doctor said, well, there's nothing I can give you. You can't medicate for tinnitus. There's no pills, there's no tablets, there's nothing you can do to make it go away. And I think that's what really does create a lot of fear. We're so used to be able to take a tablet for a headache or whatever, and when you have something that isn't supposedly treatable, it just gets worse.
So when you came and saw me, and I imagine you didn't know exactly what to expect, but I introduced you to this idea of neuroplasticity, and I invited you to start a 15-minute daily program and to start really viewing yourself differently. So I was starting to take you on this journey. How did you respond to that? How did it feel now that you were embarking on a process? And what were the benefits, if any?
I think really I was just so pleased to be able to sit down with someone and have someone understand how I felt. I think that was the first thing. And then to be able to discuss just different ways of being able to understand and manage what was going on with my tinnitus. That was something I didn't I didn't have the skills before to do.
Do you remember how long it took until symptoms eased? Because I remember you coming into clinic one day and being like, it's totally changed. Do you remember how long that was for you, that time?
Joey, for me, it was about, I think, within 3 weeks. You had shown me methods and skills to use to try and deal with the tinnitus. And by the end of those 3 weeks, I was able to sit down and really almost play with my tinnitus. I could hear it, but I could relax myself and take my mind away from it, and I could get rid of it. And I could do that in the middle of the night. I could do that during the day. And really, it was amazing. I didn't think that would be possible.
Yeah, and so what Bruce is describing there is the ability to consciously use neuroplasticity. And for those of you who are still learning that concept and those words, our brain and our nervous system inside of our body, head to toe everywhere, is full of cells called neurons, and neurons talk to each other. So if this was one neuron and that was another neuron, they talk to each other with little chemicals moving from side to side. And whichever neuron pathways are active, that's what we experience. So that's what we feel or see or hear or touch. Every single thing in our experience is mapped by neurons, including tinnitus, fear, calm, emotion, balance. So what Bruce is really nicely describing is being able to actually tune into it and then shift how he's consciously using his brain neurons and his brain networks, which is really clever, isn't it, Bruce?
Oh, look, it's amazing, and it's changed my life. It really has. Just an interesting side aspect to that. I came home about 3 weeks after we'd started this course, and my wife said, "Look, will you sit down with me?" I said, "Why? What's wrong?" And she said, "There's something going on. There's something different about you." And I said, "Yeah, look, I've been able to relax more. I'm just a lot calmer." And she just turned around. We just laughed. She said, "I'm just so glad you did have tinnitus, because you've just come back a different person." It was it was really quite funny, but it has just helped me not only with the tinnitus. It provides you skills to just relax, be a little bit calmer, and enjoy your life.
Yeah, I remember when you told me that story, and it was a bit of a high five moment, because
It was.
Who doesn't want to be pulled aside by their partner and told, "Wow, you're more happy. What's going on?" So
Yeah.
my other question I always like to ask people is, as you've gone through this rock steady process, and
Yeah.
you've also gone through private therapy to get that one-on-one support, do you feel your relationship has changed to yourself and to your body? And do you feel your relationship has changed to others or the world around you? So this is the way you relate to yourself and others.
Yeah. Look, Joe, it has. It starts with how you relate to yourself, how you feel about yourself. And by feeling better about yourself, you deal with other people better. And people around me have said, you seem a lot happier. You seem more relaxed. And that's people that just acknowledging that, yeah, you've changed.
Yeah. And we might wrap up soon, but I think I also remember you mentioning your children, and I think you had a challenging parenting role happen at some point, and you noticed you were actually changing your relationship also with how you fathered.
Yes.
Do you remember that? And do you want to just speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, look, my son was going through a difficult period, and I think because I was more relaxed, more able to deal with a difficult situation, I was able to just talk to him a little bit better than what I normally would have, and it helped him, it helped me, and yeah, it worked really well.
Yeah, that's great. I love the cascade effect, and And it's interesting how it can all start with tinnitus, which is like, you wouldn't wish it on anybody. And then you can have all of these kind of beautiful outcomes, just like that domino effect. Now, my last question is, because it comes up so much about sleep. So there are so many people out there who are struggling to sleep, and you've experienced a patch of that. How did beginning this process and working with me magically recover your sleep?
It's by getting in touch with yourself, with your own body. You using the body scan, you can just get yourself into a far more relaxed position before you go to sleep, and you can relax your mind. You can switch off from all the things that might be bothering you. You can switch off and just relax a lot better, and my sleep now is just fantastic.
Wow. So thank you so much, Bruce. I really hope that there are many, many, many people out there who are watching this, well, I'm sure, who are just really grateful for you for sharing your experience and your story. And, you know, well done for investing in this process. Well done for listening to your body and taking action. And also well done for, I suppose, going through that process of uncertainty and doubt, and hearing the specialist doctors say, look, your brain's fine, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
But then exploring what you could do, because I think a lot of people very understandably get stuck at that process of nothing we can do, and they assume that means there's nothing they can do. But it's an inner process, it's a personal process, and you've embarked on that. So congratulations, and thank you. Thank you for sharing your story.
No worries. Thank you, Joey.
Radio. Bye, everybody.